Hey all, today we are going to discuss about excess cavity preparation. So excess cavity preparation is basically the first step in endodontic treatment, right? So this is basically a endodontic treatment triangle. In this picture you can see in which the first and foremost important step is excess cavity preparation. The second step is biomechanical preparation and the third one is the obturation. So we are going to discuss about the very first step, that is the excess cavity preparation, in this video, right? Now what is excess cavity preparation? So excess cavity preparation is basically a coronal preparation, right, in which we are supposed to unroof this pulp chamber. So this is the pulp chamber present, right? We are supposed to open this pulp chamber basically, right, and remove all the coronal pulp tissue, whether it is necrotic or vital, from the crown portion of the tooth, right, so that we could easily locate these canal orifices present, right, and achieve a straight or direct line access till the apical foramen. So these are the apical foramen. You can see we are supposed to achieve a direct line access, or you can say a straight line access to the apical foramen. Now the definition of excess cavity preparation. It is defined as an endodontic coronal preparation which enables unobstructed access to the canal orifice, a straight line access to apical foramen, complete control over instrumentation and accommodate obturation technique, right? Now the objectives of excess cavity preparation. So first one is remove all the caries when present. Secondly, we should conserve the tooth structure as much as possible, right? Now unroof or open the pulp chamber. Fourth one is remove all the coronal pulp tissue present. Locate all the root canal orifices, and lastly achieve direct or straight line access into the canal. So these are the objectives of excess cavity preparation. Now in endodontics, or while doing root canal treatments, radiographs are of great use. So we are supposed to take intraoral periapical radiographs of that particular tooth so as to visualize the whole anatomy of that tooth. So what is the main aim of taking radiographs? So first one, we will be able to see the morphology of that tooth, anatomy of the root canal system. We will be able to know the number of canals present in that particular tooth, right? Then curvature of branching of the canal system, length of the canal, that is working length, right, position and size of the pulp chamber, very important, and distance from the occlusal surface, position of apical foramen, if there is any calcification or resorption present or not, we will be able to see that from the radiographs only, right? Now what is the procedure of excess cavity preparation? So for that purpose we are supposed to follow these guidelines. So the first one is visualization of the internal anatomy, which is done via taking radiographs, that is intraoral periapical radiographs, right? Secondly, evaluation of cemento-enamel junction and occlusal tooth anatomies. So both the landmarks are very important while doing root canal treatment, but the cemento-enamel junction is considered as the most important landmark, because what happens, sometimes the root is not perpendicular to the occlusal surface of the tooth, right? So the complete dependence on the occlusal or the lingual anatomy may cause procedural errors such as perforations, right? So the cemento-enamel junction is considered as the most important landmark while doing root canal treatment, or you can say the excess cavity preparation. Now why we follow all the guidelines, or why we evaluate the tooth anatomy? So main purpose is to open or unroof the pulp chamber. So there are guidelines for 3D assessment of these pulp chambers also. So the first one is centrality. The pulp chamber is located in the center of the tooth. So in this picture you can see the pulp chamber is present in the center of the tooth. So the first rule is centrality. Secondly, concentricity. That is, the walls of the pulp chamber will always follow the anatomy of the external surface of the tooth. So here in this picture you can see that this is the root canal, right? And this is the root of the tooth, you can see, right? So the external root surface anatomy reflects the internal pulp chamber anatomy basically. So this is the concentricity. Thirdly, location of the CEJ. As we have discussed, it is the most important landmark while preparing excess, right? Now the next one is symmetry. So all the canal orifices, right, are present at equal distance from a line passing through the mesiodistal direction from the center of the pulp chamber, right? So these are the canal orifices, you can see. So they are at equal distance from this line, that is the line passing through the mesial to the distal direction from the center of the pulp chamber basically, right? The symmetry rule of assessing the pulp chamber is having an exception, that is the maxillary molars. They don't follow this rule, right? Nextly, the color change. The pulp chamber floor is always darker in color than the walls. And nextly, the orifice location. The orifices of the root canals are always located at the junction of the walls and the floor, right? So they lie at the junction of the walls and the floor. Now, after visualizing the internal anatomy and evaluating the important landmarks such as cemento-enamel junction and occlusal tooth anatomy, we are supposed to prepare the excess cavity preparation, and that through lingual and occlusal surface. This is done through lingual and occlusal surface so as to achieve a straight line excess, right? And for the aesthetic and restorative concerns. For mandibular interiors, we are supposed to access through the lingual surface, but in few cases, incisal surface is recommended, right? Now, the fourth one is removal of all the defective restorations, caries before entry into the pulp chamber, so as to avoid the procedural errors. The next step is to remove all the unsupported tooth structure. After that, we are supposed to prepare the excess cavity walls so that we could achieve a straight line or direct line passage of instruments till the apical foramen. If we have not prepared the excess cavity walls properly, then the straight line excess would not be achieved, right? Like this. The next point is to inspect the floor of the pulp chamber and the walls of the pulp chamber, right? This is done via magnification through surgical lobes and endodontic endoscopes, etc. Now the last thing that we should remember is the tapering of cavity walls and evaluation of space adequacy for a coronal seal, right? So a proper excess cavity preparation generally has a tapering walls with its widest dimension at the occlusal surface, right? So in such a preparation, that is in tapered cavity wall kind of preparation, what happens, the occlusal forces will not push the temporary restoration into the cavity, right, and will not disrupt the seal. So this is the main important fact for preparing excess cavity preparation, that is we should prepare the tapered cavity walls with widest dimension at the occlusal surface. Now, what are the equipments that we require for preparing excess cavity. So the first one is magnification and illumination. For that purpose, for magnification we use surgical lobes, and for illumination we use auxiliary lights, right? So these are highly recommended. After that, hand pieces. For most of the phases of excess cavity preparation, we use high speed hand pieces, but in few cases we use slow speed hand pieces also, right? Now the burrs. Burrs are of different type which we use while preparing excess cavity. So the first one is round carbide burrs, which comes under three sizes, that is 2, 4, 6, right? They are useful for penetrating through the roof of the pulp chamber and remove the roof of the pulp chamber, you can see. Secondly, Fisher carbide burrs and diamond burrs with round ended. After that, safety tip tapered diamond burrs are also used. Safety tip because the tip is non-cutting basically, right? After that, endodontic explorers and spoons that are used to locate the canal orifices basically. And lastly, ultrasonic unit and tips to clean the pulp floor, you can say.